what are you writing there?
I'm writing a poem for a poetry slam that's going to happen in Youth 10 in a few moments.
What's a poetry slam?
A poetry slam is when you write something from your soul and you get up there and you present it just ad lib, and you can have it memorized or not. I'm not going to have mine memorized. It's going to be a new one. And you just give it all you have and give it all your passion, and you just share your voice with people.
So this notion of something coming from your soul, I mean, isn't that sort of at odds with the notion of corporate culture and everything coming to us from some sort of...
Absolutely, yeah. I think this culture is incredibly twisted because we have this belief that everyone can make it to the top, and we all harbor this notion that each of us could become the next greatest thing, and yet we're suppressed beneath this umbrella of expectations and judgments and prejudice put over us like a swath, like a blanket of other people's notions. So yeah.
And these expectations and judgments, where are they coming from?
I honestly don't know. I think it's a popular belief and a deep thread within the fabric of this culture, because I would say that if you think of the United States as a whole, we really don't have a culture. We're a compilation of many different people and many different ideas and views, and when those ideas and views get mixed together, there are many different things that can happen, and one of those is disagreement between groups of people. And I think it's that disagreement that forms lies that become publicly accepted and publicly believed. And yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to explain, but I think that's where it comes from.
So if I could ask, how old are you?
I'm 14.
You're 14 years old.
Yeah.
Now, these feelings that you're expressing now, do you think that they are widely held amongst people of your generation?
I think that they are widely felt. I don't know if held is the right word, because I think when you hold something, you're usually able to look at it and really ponder it and wonder why you're holding it, because it starts to feel really heavy. But when you feel something, it's deep within you and you don't necessarily acknowledge it, and maybe sometimes people do. And I think that really what it's going to come down to is this generation recognizing that there are those feelings and tensions that run really deep, and it's going to come down to people deciding to realize that those are part of them and what they can do to separate themselves.
So we tend to hear periodically about the younger generation being disillusioned, tuning out, and so on.
Yeah, that's a very interesting concept. I'm from a background where that's not what I do personally. So but I definitely see a lot of people with their cell phones and their computers and really detaching themselves. But it's back to the first thing I was talking about. They're detaching themselves because they believe that individually they can become great. Just them, just one person. And that's kind of the idea that this country has adapted in a popular sense, because it's like we have people at the very top and then there's just everybody else, you know? It's like it's very separated. And personally, I'm a person who believes in connection with other people, and I don't like to talk to people over the phone or text them or email them. I want to, if I have to, I'd rather write a letter or see them in person and take a hike, because it's very isolating. And when you get isolated, you start questioning yourself, and when you start questioning yourself, you have to make yourself seem great. And when you want to make yourself seem great, then you think, if I'm great, I must be the greatest. And then that's I think the belief that our culture's adopted.
So are you suggesting that these new and amazing technologies of connectivity are really in some ways forcing us to become more isolated?
Yes, I am. I'm saying that people think that they can substitute it. They think that they can spend 3 hours Skyping some random person in China instead of sitting down with their family and saying, what's wrong? Like, why am I feeling bad? Why are you feeling bad? Why are we hurting? What can we do for each other? So I think that there are pros and cons. You can meet people from across the globe you'd never have contact with, but you can also lose connection with your immediate family and friends and community, and in doing so you lose connection with yourself and the place that you have in the world. And people start feeling very very worthless, because they're like, what good am I doing this planet? Sometimes people step back and they're like, why the hell am I here? Like, what worth am I? And I think it's because they are just so alone in retreating and going into these technologies and not having just the ground beneath their feet and holding someone else's hand really tight and just, you know, looking at the stars and going, wow, we're all human. They're isolated in this world that is built up of people's imaginations. People imagined these technologies and brought them into fruition, and people also imagine these prejudices and these ideas about each other. And I think it's all connected, and I think that people become really isolated by all of it.
So you mentioned earlier that some of these technologies, people reach out for connections with people who are far away from them, while at the same time they feel isolated from their family, people that are very close to them. Is it important to nurture these relationships, these closer relationships in our family?
Yes, it is absolutely important to nurture closer relationships, because I think I'm a person who's all about community and all about that's why I'm here, sustainability and bringing people together in a productive manner. And so I think it's really, really important to nurture close family relationships, and because in doing, those are the people that you spend the most time with. So if you nurture those relationships, they'll get to know you, and they'll be able, when you're having those moments where you're like, why am I here? They'll be able to tell you why you're there. They'll say, because we need you, and people need to be needed. I think just about everybody needs to be needed, and in this world, we've stopped needing people. We've started needing the technologies and the machines and the big corporations to just hold everything up, because that's what we're built up on. We've stopped needing the love and the interconnection, but it's deep inside of us to crave that. And that's actually what I'm writing about right here, right now. So I'm not even started, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
That's awesome. And your name?
Ruby Durovin.
Where are you from?
I'm from around here. I'm from Fairfax.
Fairfax. Cool. Thank you very much, Ruby.
Welcome.
All right.
Have a good day.